What's going on, guys? Bear J1 here. I kind of wanted to give you guys a quick, semi-decent video about class loadouts. Now, I apologize. I would traditionally have the loadouts in the background and I'd run it through OBS, but right now my computer is being a little finicky. I'm trying to fix it, but it's just a pain. So again, if you have any advice, I would definitely take it. Again, fledgling channel, trying to get better. But I want to talk to you about loadouts in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and I want to tell you what I do to try and gain the upper hand on whoever I'm going up against. So I have two primary guns that I use. I use the KN-44 probably on 75% of the maps that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 has to offer. It's my baby. I love it. It's maxed out in terms of camos, in terms of prestige equipment. It's got all the attachments. It's so nice. And then I have my CUDA, which is my quick class, which I use on the other 25% of the maps that are available in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Now, these two classes I have variations of, but these are the two primary guns that get a majority of the jobs done when I'm playing TDM, uplink, domination, demolition, basically anything that I go about playing. So I'll just kind of give you an idea. Again, I apologize that I don't have OBS running right now because it's being finicky, but I'll just tell you what I've got. So KN-44 class, the standard class, right now I currently have 4 attachments included with 3 perks and 1 grenade. And I run primary gunfighter in order to get that 4th attachment. So I run a sight. I use the BOA sight, at least that's what I call it, the BOA sight. It's the one that lights up if you see your opponent in your sight. And it's great for me because my stupid actions typically get me killed if I'm using a reflex sight, because it's like, oh, that guy's running right by you, what are you going to do? Oh, I didn't see him. So the BOA sight does a good job of picking up on, you know, this is the guy that you've got to go after. I also use stock because I like to play the KN class kind of like most people would play a submachine gun class. I try to move quick, and the stock really elevates the assault rifle class in general, especially with the KN. I also run a silencer on all of my classes. I absolutely love running the outskirts of every single map and getting kills based on that. And the only way that you can really do that is if you're using a silent running class. And when I say silent running, you can have a combination of a few different things, but silencer is the key portion to it. If you're not running a silencer, you're going to be attracting attention to you. So if you run a silencer, if you run Ghost, if you run Blast Suppressor, you're basically not going to be seen if you're running along the outside of the map, apart from actually running into people, in which case you're going to be using one-on-one skills against your opponent, which is what I really pride myself in for the most part. Like if you were to go back to, say, Modern Warfare 3, which was probably my favorite Call of Duty up until this game, and we can have a debate on that later. It's not a huge deal, but I truly enjoyed Infinity Ward's take on Modern Warfare 3, along with Sledgehammer Games' contribution to that. It's a lot of one-on-one gunfighting, and I truly enjoyed it, and that's basically what I try to take into Black Ops 3. So for this class, I just use a silencer, and the other attachment that I use is rapid fire. So again, trying to turn this KN class into more of a submachine gun class. If you can do that, you can take this gun basically anywhere. Like, if I were to use an example, Combine. Everybody's played on Combine, right? And there are 2 internal places on either side of the map. Most people wouldn't feel comfortable running inside of those places with an assault rifle because A, they don't fire fast enough, and B, they're tough to move around with. And if you've got stock on and if you've got rapid fire on, you can go in there guns blazing as far as I'm concerned. Don't go ADS, but you can use your hip fire in order to get more kills, and you can readjust a lot more easily than taking in like the M8A7 with marginal attachments, because it's a 3-shot burst gun and you're probably not going to be able to get it around on who you're shooting on. So in terms of a lethal, I have a sticky grenade. It really allows me to do a lot of different things. I can flush people with it. I can use it as cover. I can go out and do a lot of different things with it that most people don't have the advantage of if they're maxing out their perks or if they're maxing out their attachments. So in terms of perks, I run 3, and this is basically what I run for everything because it makes sense. Sort of, kind of. So perk 1, obviously the blue perk, is Sixth Sense. A lot of people hate this perk. I love it. I absolutely love it, because throughout all the Call of Duty games that I've ever played in my entire life, the mini-map is my crutch. It's a free perk. If you're not using it, you're a fool. Okay? So if you're going to be using a perk that can utilize your mini-map, at least in my mind, use Sixth Sense. It's going to indicate exactly where they are. It's going to pop up in your in your sound bar. I'll say sound bar, basically what you're listening to, as to where they are, and then you can readjust your firing in order to go after that opponent. So the green perk is Gun Ho. The only reason I use that is because it allows me to really toss away quick draw on any of the guns that I have, and it's great because I'm always sprinting around maps, especially on the outskirts. Like, I'm going to be moving as quickly as I can in order to get into position and outflank an opponent. And so if I need to get my gun up quickly, Gung Ho is a perfect perk for that. I would typically run Hardwire along with it, because typically people throw like trip mines and stun mines on the outskirts of maps, but it's not as big a deal anymore since I've learned how to properly utilize power jumps and power slides. And then my third perk, the red perk, is Blast Suppressor. Again, this goes back to running silent along the outskirts of the map. If you can run silently, then you're going to be able to get a lot of kills without people really trying to get at you, in which case your KD is going to go up and you won't have to worry about, you know, ending up looking like an idiot at the bottom of the kill feed at the end of the game. So that's the standard class. That's the KN class. That's my baby. That's what I use for basically everything. The second class that I use, is that Kuda class. And the Kuda class is what I use on 25% of the maps. It's basically my Nuketown gun, my splash gun. It allows me to go and do a lot of things that the KN is close to doing, but really can't come to grips with. So this is what I take if I've got to run inside and kill as many people as I possibly can in a short amount of time. It fires extremely fast. I think it's 4 shots, 4 to 5, depending upon where you're shooting your opponent in order to get a kill. So the attachments that I currently have on it are a reflex sight, and the only reason I have a reflex sight on it is because I'm trying to do some things with different attachments. Otherwise, I would have a BOA sight, the BOA sight. I have grip attached to it, because if you are running a short-range class and you've got to make a few across-the-map kills, the Kuda's going to jump all over the place. It is literally meant for clearing rooms. It's like a shotgun in the sense that it's automatic. So for my purposes, I use it for more small to mid-range maps, and grip is a perfect combination in order to keep that thing steady if I've got to hold down the trigger button. I also run silencer. It's a standard with all of my classes. It allows me to move silently, and I don't give away my position to the people that are in that vicinity. Silent running is just, it's too great. I cannot stress that enough for you guys. And then the other thing, and this is your prerogative, but this is what I use. The Kuda class, it fires very quickly. So you're going to run out of ammo quickly, especially if you're like me and you like to spray and pray. Accuracy is never an option for me. So I use fast mags, and you could use extended mags, but that's your choice. The only reason I use fast mags is because I'm constantly hitting that X button, that reload button, right after I get done shooting someone. And that really takes my game up a different level, because I don't have to sit in a corner and wait to reload. I can still maintain my momentum and my rushing while I'm reloading. So those are the attachments. My one lethal is a Semtex, same as the KN class. It does the exact same thing. Allows me to move. It allows me to push people away from specific locations. I can use it as cover while I'm reloading. It's great for escaping. And then the perks are the same. Sixth Sense is actually really, really great for this, because since you are rushing into a room, you can figure out where people are almost immediately. Now, you can get overbogged with Sixth Sense, especially if you're running into a room with like 3 or 4 people, but that's why you have that Semtex. You throw that in the room first, you clear it, then you go in and you do your circle around the room and see if you can't get some kills that way. Gung Ho, same core concept. I sprint everywhere with this class, so it's super important that I can bring my gun up quickly. And then Blast Suppressor, which I've debated taking off, but all these short-range maps really, I've taken it off, and I don't like the KD that comes with it. So right now, I'm keeping it on. And that's basically the two standard classes, my KN44 and my CUDA. Now, the next two things that I'm going to tell you are based around headset monitoring. So if you've got a headset, keep on watching this video. If not, you still probably watch this video. But these are some of my tips for if you're wearing a headset. So I run the exact same thing, a KN class and a CUDA class. And these two classes are slightly different from the prior versions that I just explained to you. Now, the only difference is I take away an attachment on those guns and I change my red perks. So Blast Suppressor is gone. Now I have Awareness and Dead Silence. And for these classes, that makes a world of difference if you have a headset. Because that headset is going to allow you to listen to where your opponents are. Awareness is going to amplify the footsteps of the people who don't have on Dead Silence, in which case you can kind of direct to where you need to see or find your opponent. And I also run Dead Silence in case I need to, in case I'm playing against like a Master Prestige who's running a headset as well, because I cannot tell you how many times I'm either on Nuketown, on Combine, on Redwood, and I'm getting killed and I can't figure out why. So I have to actually wait and not hit the respawn button immediately in order to figure out that the guy is listening to my footsteps. So I'll throw on one of these classes and start messing with him. So my game dramatically improves once I do that. So the attachment that I take off of the KN class is Rapid Fire. Because with this class, you're going to be moving a little bit more silently and a little bit more to the outside of the map. You're not going to take as many risks, okay? So you don't necessarily have to have rapid fire in order to win specific gunfights. This is more of a, we'll say, a tag and bag class, okay? So move silently, take people on from the outside of the map looking in. And then the CUDA class is kind of in the exact same realm. So I take away grip for it, which is semi a mistake, but I don't see a huge difference when I'm messing with it because I typically throw this class on when people are listening to me on Nuketown. It's the exact same core concept. Now, these classes are different variations. You guys may have a couple different classes, but those are what I use. I use two guns. They're pretty simple, and they work well for me. It's basically the same thing that I've done in the last couple Call of Duties. Like, Modern Warfare 3, I use two guns. I use the M4A1, which people thought was stupid, but I really enjoyed it. It was a standard gun. I threw some attachments on it. It was a lot of fun. And I used that, again, on 75% of the maps. And then the other thing I used was the PP90M1. Yeah, so it was that little, like, grease gun, because it had the cylindrical magazine reload to it. And it was really, really cool for the most part. And that thing fired super fast. It was kind of like the Razorback that we've got here in Black Ops 3. But that's the idea with these classes. And I didn't have a headset back then to really utilize the advantages that come with these new perks. So now that I do, it really elevates my level of game, and it allows me to do things that I never would have thought possible. I'm super stoked to actually branch out and start trying some new guns. But right now, for you guys, I'm going to be attempting to upload some gameplay. I'm assuming OBS cooperates. But for right now, we're just going to have to stick with one-on-one conversations. So, again, thank you for watching the video. Please remember, like, comment, subscribe. I would love to answer your questions, any comments, something along those lines. So, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.